My next guest tonight here on Punky's MixTape is joining me out of Portland, Maine. I'd like everybody to welcome to the show Chelsea Toussaint, better known as Sparxsea. How we doing?
Hey, I'm great. Enjoying the fact that Monday is over. It was a good day though.
We conquered the Monday.
We did. It was just productive enough, but still relaxing. So it was a good Monday.
Nice. You gotta love those just nice and easy sort of days. Just kind of go with the tide.
You appreciate them when you get them.
You do. Well, it's good to hear that was one of those days.
It was.
Thank you for coming to hang out with us here on the MixTape. Some of my mixtapers here might remember the name from a previous episode a couple of months ago when we checked out one of your tracks. But for the folks at home that don't know who you are, tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Well, I've been making music for a long time, but I released my first album in 2018. And I write songs that are inspirational in nature, but I really like to use acoustic instruments to write and pair it with like bass, like catchy bass and like more powerful drums. I don't know. I'm still kind of finding, I think every artist is kind of finding their sound, but that's where I'm at right now. I have a release coming out early next year. That's my first full-length album. So yeah, I've been in Portland for pretty much my whole like music career. I've been in Portland, but I'm from Northern Maine. So I'm just living the dream, I guess.
That's awesome. So how long have you officially been Sparxsea for?
Probably 2017. I don't actually have a date. I don't know when I made the name, but yeah, whatever. I just like made a list of like a full page of like ideas, and Sparxsea was just the perfect like oxymoron that had like fire, like nature, like fire, water. And my name's Chelsea, so CU is part of the name. So it worked out. I think 2017.
Nice. So I've been going for a couple of years now. And how was your first introduction into like the Portland music scene? How was getting out there for yourself?
It was actually pretty good. It's funny, when I first started with music, I'd like be piano playing, and then in college when I moved to Portland, I picked up a guitar and I like learned it on YouTube and like learned like 10 chords, and that's pretty much what I have right now. A little bit more, but not much more. I just learned it so that I can play out, because it's hard to like lug a piano around. So I started to just do open mic, and then alongside that, I was a songwriter, so I had like songs written. So I was kind of like chipping away at how to produce those, and that eventually led to, I guess, 2018. I didn't even use any of my personal songs. I used other producers' beats, but I wrote on them. But this album's gonna be my first where I would like produce my songs.
Nice. That's awesome to hear.
And on the Portland stuff, more. I'm a tangenter, sorry, but
you're fine.
On the Portland stuff, it was very welcoming, because I remember forming like lots of like kind of cool relationships with the places that I'd play. Some of them aren't here anymore, and a lot, unfortunately, now aren't here. But I just like the variety of places that there is to play in Portland, and all the people are really friendly, and people listen to original music. So it's nice. It's a really special thing we have.
Yeah, the Portland scene, it's unbelievably welcoming. It's so eclectic. There are just between a couple of streets, you can go and get so many different drastic genres in music. You can go, on Congress alone, you can go and check out some doom and gloom bands and some metal bands. You can get some punk. You can head down to Flask and get some great electronic music of every single variety. And on top of so many different bands that play there, and then even Geno's is just a plethora of mix of tons of rock bands and alt bands, alike.
Yeah, you can't, like, the thing about Portland, it's kind of still like a small city, but you still can have like the conflict where you're like, oh, do I go to house music, or I'm gonna go here and then I'm gonna go there? And it's just like, oh man, why can't I be at both places? So that's a good problem to have. I would think.
It really is, and it's starting to become a little bit more predominant. There's always lulls, in any local music scene. There's just things kind of quiet down for a little bit, but it seems that things are honestly starting to ramp up. Even at least seeing that coming from the artist. I know that there's not a lot of options right now for playing out But you're still seeing all the artists staying, just completely active online, putting out releases, putting out music videos, and it's
Tons of
amazing to
content.
see.
And good content, there's a lot of like people are just like, some of them had more artistic time during this, and it's kind of cool. You see all these like really, really well thought out releases and stuff like that, and it's really neat to see people like pushing their stuff and letting other people discover it, so it's a new form of going out to see music, I guess, is just like discovering it on your own for right now. The outdoor stuff is cool, and I think that's like the next thing, that makes sense for live music. So being safe and just still being like the full experience. Live stream shows are okay, I don't mind them, but they're a little weird.
Yeah,
but this isn't as weird. Just talking with you isn't as weird. It's so funny.
That's good. I'd hope this is not a weird experience for anybody.
No. Well, weird's not bad, but it's still fun.
Okay, well, good weird.
A good weird.
Yeah.
All right, that's
we've definitely hit some weird spots on this show, that's for sure.
There, you could do a weird video compilation.
Oh,
the weirdest moments ever.
The weirdest moments ever. That's my B-roll.
Good, I like it. We just made the intro.
I just made the intro for it. I like it. Collaborating already. You'll jump me to a question that I'll usually drop out later. But since we're talking about collaboration, you as an artist probably have, maybe not so secret admirations of somebody that you'd like to be able to work with. Is there anybody, currently active that you would just love to work on a track or an album with?
Yeah, probably. You know what? I like Sea Levels, Dan Capaldi's stuff. You should actually talk to him on the show too. He's a very interesting artist. It's very well thought out, but it's kind of like dramatic in the right point. It's very dynamic. It's like almost like orchestral, and I really like that. And I'm sure we talked in the past. I don't know. This time flies, so you like talk to people about doing stuff, but that's something that I kind of kept in my brain. So maybe this will reignite that.
Nice.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anybody else that would make your list?
I'm pretty diverse, but I will say I think that, and it's funny that he's coming on your show with Chad Gray. I would do a hook or something on his songs, because he's rapping about the right stuff. Like he's like really down with the inspirational stuff and like the positive stuff, and like not afraid of talking about what's going on too. So I think that's like the essence of good art, and just his talent is really good too, obviously. So, and we've jammed out in the past, so I think that's like something, again, reignite that too. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd be open to work. I feel like it would be fun to work with whoever sometimes, just like, so I keep such an open mind, because I like to like do all kinds of different stuff, like meet different kinds of like artistic interpretations, and just like have fun with it, see what happens.
Yeah, and really just kind of see where it takes you to.
Yeah.
Follow the journey with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you say that's kind of the root of how you kind of follow the process with your music? I mean, some people are a little bit more technical. Some are just a little bit more on the creative, more aloof side of things. What's your approach?
When I write, I'm not very technical at all. I like have little tiny snippets on my phone, like, too much, like my phone storage like goes away. I don't have to like delete stuff or whatever. But to like produce, I've become more technical. I've been working with like Will Bradford, Will Holland, and producing this next record. And things like, I feel like before, when I was trying to produce on my own, I feel like I could do this now because I have a process. I just didn't have a process before. And I was like, it's quicksand or something. It was like you're spinning your tires. You're like trying all kinds of stuff, but then you're not really getting the result that you want or something. I don't know. It wasn't working before. So I'm happy to work with people who have a good process. And they have a good artistic instinct too. So they add like a lot of character to the songs through their parts. They're like, oh, let's throw this in here, So I like to have whoever I'm collaborating with have their artistic freedom, and just see how our two artistic freedoms like kind of mix.
which in most cases that can go really well. Sometimes you end up mashing and it, not so clean, but it's worth taking the risk.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, it's only a risk if you're caring about like what comes out of it, really, and then because then you have something to lose. But if you just don't care and just like have a good time, then you'll have a good time either way.
Yeah, just kind of take off the expectations of it, because then
that's it.
You don't need to have that kind of weight, holding you back. Don't, and that's the way that I go. And I personally don't go into the process with any real expectations. I have an idea in my mind's eye,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, I think this is the way that I want to go, and then I'll just honestly see where it goes.
Yeah, that's a good balance. Good to plan a little bit ahead.
And but for me is I'll go and I'll write and I'll write and I'll write, and then eventually I'll stop, and then I'll take a look at everything in its entirety and see what I have and like what's actually congruent between them. And then after I see and kind of look what I have for my palette, that's when I really start to get technical.
Yeah.
And I'll be
that's
like,
good.
And so
it's like forming a body of work.
Exactly. Like I want to allow myself to be relaxed with the creative space on it, but at the same time, I need to have expectations of myself. I need to push myself as an artist. I need to learn things each time that I'm doing it, so that way I feel that I've gained something personally along the journey.
Yep. And you kind of like put something out into the world that like means it came from like a deep place, and it means something to you. It's like thought out again, and that all takes time. I've realized that as well. Like it's difficult to just rushing something never really makes, like maybe not rushing steps, but being like, all right, I have to get through the next like 3 hours. I need to get this done for today, but like not overall in the process. That probably helps it be a little bit more like well selected. If you're selecting songs that go together, you just give more time to it. Maybe you'll make another song the next day that all of a sudden just ties everything together. You're just like, oh, okay, well, obviously that's done now. Like that step is there,
And I completely agree, because honestly, for me, one of the biggest things that helps for my production is hindsight, is just to step away for a day or two and then go back to the recording and go back at it with fresh ears. Because sometimes I'll just, you feel like you're working yourself into a corner. And, for anyone listening that's going through that artistic process, you know exactly what we're talking about. Just how difficult it could be. We're like, what the fuck am I actually going to do with the rest of this track?
Yeah, where you're just like, if you're not inspired, that's a good point to like put it away for a second and just like do something totally unrelated or write a completely different song or whatever, and just like find something else you're inspired. My dog's ridiculous. That's okay.
That's okay. She just wants to be a part of it too.
She can't hear. She's deaf. She's 12, so I can't like tell her to stop. Anyway. She may introduce herself later.
That's more than fine. That's more than fine.
I like it. She's very cute.
I'm surprised my cats aren't going in response.
I know. This is where like I'm excited about it. She's 130 pounds and she sounds like a Pomeranian because she probably sees something she can't have.
Oh.
That's okay. It's on the street. It's another dog walking by. She's coming.
As dogs do. As dogs do. It's been a strange year. We're all trying to make do the best we can. How have you been maintaining throughout everything and keeping up just on your own mental space and positivity?
What's funny? It's I think being alone, it's happened to me before. So I went through like this really difficult time, and that became the EP that I released in 2018. And I was very much alone because I was like at the end of a 5-year depression that I had since my mother died. And I was like around 5 years, I was trying to climb out of this, and it just like disintegrated the relationship I was in. And then he left, and I was like down on my lowest. I was like alone, and I was like, okay, well, I've been sad for so long. Like I'm the only one who can like obviously fix this. Am I gonna live with this, or am I just gonna do something to make my life better or whatever? And I was able to do something about it. And that became that album. But that process for this time has made it so easy. Like not so easy because it's not that easy. There's things that we miss and everything, but that part of it is like really something that's familiar to me. It's just the solitude and making the best of the solitude, and just like, okay, well, I have all this time that to myself, like there must be something good about having time to yourself, you know, find the good and then use it, because you don't always have the time to yourself, you know. So I think that helped me just realize, oh my God, I have all this time, because I'm a dentist as well. I fix kids' teeth, and the homeless as well, the homeless adults, and that's my full-time job. But then, you know, being out of work for 4 months for coronavirus, I totally was like, well, okay, I was not expecting to have all this time all of a sudden. So then I released my first thing. I had time to promote it and like do a proper release and learn about what that was, you know, and spend the time doing it and just working on like myself, try to like exercise, and like, you know, you have all this extra time, you're like, I'm gonna cook healthy, you know, and all these things. But I don't know, it's been an okay experience overall, but it's difficult to see. I'm grateful for where I've been, because it's hard to see where everybody else, a lot of other people go or have gone for this, because there's certain things that make it really tough. So I've been reaching out a lot more, you know, and trying to just bring people closer as well.
I think that's important, honestly, and you're right, because for some, the lack of daily structure can be incredibly impactful on some individuals. Some of them just thrive on that daily organization that they have and the social nets that they created for themselves. So when you cut those nets away, those safety nets, it's gotten, you know, unfortunately pretty dicey for some individuals. And you know, some of them unfortunately have not made it through all of this. So finding ways to stay connected, not only for yourself or with other people, just having that sense of social responsibility of just going in and just doing wellness checks, with just being genuine and just putting out and then checking in on people around you, you know?
Yep. And you just like, you'll never know what they're going through. And a lot of people have probably lost communication with some people over this, like not communicating as much with people in general. And I think that is another jolt to the, like, to the, I don't even know, the soul or whatever. It's just like a jolt to something makes it difficult to deal with the hardships in life. So it's just like, I think the connection with other people really will help through this hardship, you know, these hardships that we're all having of different shape sizes and everything else. Everyone has their own struggles in the last 4 months. But coming together, it's like we're all in this experience together. So it's important to reach out to the people who won't reach out to you. You know, that's the thing, is just like feeling like the impulse to reach out before you're getting reached out to. That's really helpful.
You're right, you know, because I know when my own personal struggles, you shut down, you know. For me, I'm completely the shutdown media blackout. You know, if you're not hearing from me, especially for someone who talks a lot, you know, but I'm probably not in the best headspace, you know, and they call it the silent killer for a reason, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many, even now, sometimes just no texts come in and I'm just like, I gotta like jumpstart this thing again. But it's true. It's hard because you won't want to reach out. Like, obviously there's like, I think that's like the nature of some people, just recluse, like they become just distant. So it's good to continue to do that. And it would probably make them feel a lot more empowered to like do something else positive in their day. To like it's like all snowball effect, really. So
I completely agree, because if you can have that small, just intrinsic reaction and offer that, you know, bit of positivity, then it's going to ripple. It absolutely will. So we talk about it almost every episode on the show, but that type of self-care, and that type of just communal awareness and being aware of what's actually happening around you, to the people, you know, that, you know, not just your friends, not just your family, but everybody around you. You know, that bit of positivity, you know, to the stranger at the gas station, you know, the person on the bus, or, you know, a customer in your work, it doesn't matter, you know. Just try to put it out there. I think that's one of the best things that we can do, is just try to create a positive space for everybody.
Yeah, it's so true. And I always like I've noticed, actually, I feel like lately, people in general, like on the street passing by each other, like are a little bit more friendly, I feel. I know there's all kinds of cases of that not being the case with all the other problems we're dealing with, those isolated incidents, like those incidences that are motivated by like, you know, hate and stuff like that. But like in general, people are a little bit more connecting with the, like, eye, you know, contact and stuff. I'm always the one to, like, not always the one, but like I say hi to or smile at someone, and then I notice after that the like initial reaction where they're like, oh, they're smiling, okay, I'm gonna smile back, and that feels good, you know. And otherwise maybe they wouldn't have said hi. So it's like that's about the whole reach out. It's like about being proactive, really. It's like not about waiting for the world to show kindness to you before you show kindness, you know. So I mean,
showing kindness outwards first, you know. It's literally
yes.
going in once again with no expectations, you know.
Right.
If you go into the world with this, you know, this sense that everything is going to be this big movie moment, you know, this big blockbuster moment, it's not, you know. It's all the small little things in between that makes up the human experience, you know. So if you're too focused on the grande things in your life, you're going to forget about all those amazing little moments that just they're going to sit with you, you know, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's all about your focus, really, and where you direct it. So it's like there's all this stuff coming at you throughout life, and it's just you have all these options to, like, what do you want to focus on and inform your reaction to, you know. And it's just like we do have a good amount of power to change, especially if we all kind of jump on this together, of course, as with anything else. But
well, absolutely, it's complete. It has to be an everyone effort, you know. Unfortunately, it's not the time for anyone to be dropping any slack right now, because it's an all hands on deck, you know. The world needs the connectivity more than ever right now, and it needs to be through a voice of positivity, equality, and progressiveness for all people.
and I think that, like, your show and showcasing the art that you are, and any art that just has like a purpose or like a statement, I guess, you know, or just trying to do right by those people, just give them the promotion that you can, and then, like, you're that vessel through, like, that these people are just showcased to the world, which is really, really powerful as well, because it's like magnifying, or it's like increasing the result from that.
And then that is the point here. That's the heart and the ethos of what we're trying to do, is just literally show from all over the world for a universal message through music, and, you know, just connectivity of all people. There is no difference other than your personal background. We're all cut from the same cloth. We all experience different but similar hardships, but we're all here in this human experience together, and we need to make the best of it for every single person here. And it's really, if you can just go out with that type of positivity, then you will absolutely make an effect out into the world, you know. And even for me to be in this spot, to be able to sit and showcase so many amazing artists, I say it all the time, it's beyond humbling. You know, I'm at a loss for words for the role that I get to play, as you said, as like a vessel, you know. And
it's really,
I get to hear all these stories, and honestly, it's brought nothing but light and positivity and inspiration into my personal life. And I hope other people who are listening to this, they can get that same message and have that realization that, like, hey, you're not alone in the world. You know, you're not the only one feeling this way. We're all in this together. And if you can find some bit of positivity to hold on to, then that's everything to me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just also how you become your best self too, and have the best time that you can, really, and like have the most fruitful life experiences too, and like grow and change and continue to learn, because you're just open-minded. So you're just accepting information all the time, just accepting it, you know, like accepting the world around you as it is, and just being okay internally with that. And then you feel better, and then you're better and then you do better things as a reaction to better emotions that you're feeling, you know. It's funny, it's very energetic.
It is. And I find it completely, like, revitalizing, because society tells you to be this, be that, look this way, weigh this amount, how, you know, X, Y, and Z, and then eventually you need to shut all of those, you know, societal expectations once again off, and then realize at the end of the day that the value you have upon yourself. Amazing human being Rebecca Sugar, creator of Steven Universe. It's a great song. And in the lyrics, it's I don't need you to like me because I like me.
Yeah.
And that I'm good enough for me. I'm paraphrasing lightly, but I couldn't think of a better individual to describe what we were talking about. And that's important. At the end of the day, you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and like what's there in front of you. And I think taking a proactive step and getting involved with the community around you, it's honestly it's putting more value into myself, and honestly I can say the same. People, that go and give back, to the world around them, you're going to notice that the world gets a lot more beautiful every single day.
It's very true. It's all it really is like a domino effect almost. If you get it rolling, like it's just getting it rolling, but everyone is involved in that. So, but I'm pretty satisfied with, like, I feel like that's the most fulfilling thing that I've done, or like anyone. I feel like it's a generally fulfilling thing for people to just help other people and really like contribute to the greater good. And at the end of the day, like the way that you make the world is the world you have to live in as well. So you can really change that a lot more than I think people might realize. I don't know. I didn't think when I was in this like low place, it was like winter and I was just like not having a good time. I was like a very introvert. I'm an introvert naturally too. I'm like both, I guess. But sometimes that depression brings out how introverted I can get. And I wasn't doing much because I didn't have a good outlook on it. I was like, well, whatever. If I do, what's it going to really, like I had that terrible outlook where I was like, what's it going to make a difference? Like, whatever. I'm just going to do nothing, and for a while, or just, I did write music, which was great. That's all I wanted to do. But other than that, I was like not my productive self at all. But it was just because you just have a different outlook on what you can do. But then once I realized, I can like do something to make myself feel better, like start exercising again or whatever. And then, that really did change a lot. Like that one little thing, like, and then it's just like, it changes things. It's like either one way or the other. But yeah, it's definitely is. That's how even like the painful things in life that happen to you can make you that much more happy, grateful, alive, like after you come back, because you've been there and come back, like you're just more thankful,
Absolutely. Looking into the void, as they say, when you have to face your own demons, or unfortunately are forced in a traumatic situation, but you come out and you're a survivor and you've made it that much further every single day. And, those hardships, albeit difficult to endure, they define you as an individual and give you character. It shows your fortitude as an individual.
Yep. And I think we're all honestly connected by that experience. Like no matter, everybody has like the different, like their worst experiences obviously is different as many people as there are, but everyone's worst is their worst. Like it's subjectively the worst thing they know. It's like, that's still the worst feeling, So I think everybody's been through like some sort of rock bottoms in their life and they've come out. So it's good to just be there to help others. Like every time you're in a rock bottom, it's kind of like you kind of need, it's good to have that. It's good to have the connection. So right now it's a weird time. Like everybody is in their own rock bottoms of some sort. So it's good to just continue to keep the positivity in the world. It's a movement. I think I've seen a lot more like people looking for like the meaning, looking for the positivity and the bright side, and just being more active in their community.
And you're right, because nobody's really had this sort of downtime to do that type of a deep philosophical look on themselves and take that step towards the road of self-development. We're so clouded by everything that's happening in our daily lives, just jobs, social expectations, XYZ. And then you're forced into a situation to learn to be comfortable with being alone. You might be surrounded by people, but once again, you're forced into a situation of some level of isolation, into which you're alone completely with your thoughts. So it's been great to see what's come out of that, especially now where we're, unfortunately, as hard as it is, we're several months into it, but you're starting to see, as I guess the fortitude would be the best word, and like the inspiration that these artist individuals, just social promoters, you know, in any way, are just putting it out there. You know, not everyone's an artist. Some of them are, you know, are just individuals putting their soul out into the world, and they're putting that much more positivity out there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that journey. But
Yeah.
one thing that I'm kind of curious as, for somebody who obviously is proven to be so unbelievably inspirational, and you walk that path of creating inspirational music for others, when times are hard and you're having those dark moments come in, what are some things that you find to offer inspiration into your daily life?
When they're hard, it's a little bit more difficult, to be honest, because it's like you're just in a different mindset. But I've learned to kind of, what I do is I sometimes would listen to like YouTube videos, like positive inspirational speakers. Like I like Jim Rohn is good. Abraham Hicks is good. Les Brown's good if you really need like a really inspirational, like almost yelling, whatever. Like I don't even know. He's very spiritual, but it's very good if you're like in that exact dark moment where you just need. And then the funny thing is, you just listen to it if you're in headphones, probably even better. But you just have to like sit there. It's like a meditation, really. So kind of get yourself to think a little bit different, and then you know that might kickstart something else. Like if you like a clean house, then, or if you know you feel good, do something that makes you feel good, that you know you'll feel good. And it's kind of like kicking the snowball in the other direction, trying to like slow it down a little bit. You know, for me, like being an introvert, if I get like that, I personally like to stay an introvert and just like, you know, I naturally come out of it. I don't know. I just like create or like paint or hang out with my dog or whatever. So I'm okay. Everybody has a different level of that. But if you're lonely, then just do it. Just like try to reach to the closest person, like, and just say, you know, hey, how have you been? Like, not even like, hey, I'm having a tough time. Just like try to see how they've been, and then maybe feel like you can kind of like you're helping them a little bit, so it's more worth something to you, you know. So I don't know, I feel like doing whatever you're comfortable with, like find a way to get yourself a little bit better. It's just little things, you know. Or go eat if you have some money and you don't want to eat out because you're just like trying to be budgetful. That's probably the night to go eat out, get what you want or something.
Treat yourself just a little bit extra. That's a thing that I do a lot. Not always the eating out, but the self reward. For me, like I said, I'm massively goal oriented. So like I know that, as silly as it is, that you know, if I get X, Y, and Z done, then I'm going to give myself X, Y, and Z as a reward. You know, as silly as me, and it's like, you know, for some it works, but I find after a long mixtape week, there's nothing better than to get some sort of like a homemade pastry. So I try to like line up after, this is a little secret, after broadcast on Wednesdays nights, there's some sort of pastry waiting for me in the kitchen. So it's like, fuck yeah, Punky, you did it. You made another week. And I'll sit there at midnight just with all my gear and shut it down, and I'll have myself just a little snack because I earned it.
That's the best part about the whole thing. Like, yes. I love that so much. What's your pastry of choice, though?
Whoopie pies.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a total Mainer thing to be like all about, but there's just something about it. And there's got to be like the classic ones too, you know?
Right. So, what's the best one? Do you know the best one?
There is a brand. I don't want to drop the brand. It's not the big one in Maine. It's a much smaller Maine company. Okay. And they are way better because they don't use whipped cream. They have that more of that classic filling. But I think what's big for me, it reminds me of the way that my meme used to cook when I was a kid. So I think mentally it's just that relaxing nostalgia. It's delicious, but it's like a trifecta, you know?
Yeah, I really like whoopie pies. There's some from Northern Maine that I like. But yeah, whoopie pies are a classic for sure.
For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, because that is actually a thing, people actually don't know what whoopie pies are. It is a very dense cake, and it's kind of like a muffin top, and it has a very heavy, usually a Crisco-based frosting in the center with vanilla. It is delicious. They are terrible for you. They're massive in cholesterol, but they are unbelievably good. Like a very dense, fudgy, delicious, moist cake for anybody
Cake,
at
yeah.
home that
It's
doesn't
like
know
two
what else to
muffin
buy it.
top, chocolatey chocolate, and then
Exactly, like two muffin tops smushed together.
it's like,
And that's obviously
yeah,
the best part of the muffin's the top.
yeah, it is actually. So
Yeah.
that's something to, treat yourself. Yeah.
You know, muffin stumps, not my favorite part, but you gotta treat yourself. Self-care is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, muffin stumps. Okay, that's funny.
Little classic
Oh.
Seinfeld.
You know what I'll
joke there.
do though? The best way is to cut it in half and grill it on with butter in the pan.
We just become like best. That is the best way to make a muffin, hands down. Cut it in half, butter it up, and then just grill it. And then you just have that melted butter, and then you have that char from the grill on there.
Yeah, it's like the best ever.
Kindred spirits. Now, as long as you don't say that pumpkin's your favorite muffin, then we can continue the interview.
Carrot.
Weird. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Pistachio too, but
pistachio too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know which one would be the better. I honestly would go back and forth. I would get that before work like every day until I was really tired of it. I was like, okay, it's been 6 months. I maybe should not do this every day.
Well, I know what to bring to the MixTape brunch mixer next year.
Oh, good. And then we'll grill them up.
Yeah, we'll have a grill just for grilled muffins. It'll be all snacks mentioned throughout the mixtape. It'll be whoopie pies and muffins and random Japanese treats that I eat here on the show.
Oh my gosh. This sounds amazing. Now you're going to have everybody.
Yeah, I have a weekly thing where I have snacks from, right now it's from Japan, but I have miscellaneous snacks and I eat them completely blind, not knowing what it is. It's a ton of fun.
Wow.
You got to take risk every once in a while because you might find something brand new that you didn't know that you loved. So.
That's eat like normal foods, like different foods. But I don't know if I could do like the Fear Factor stuff or whatever, but that's a little.
Like a month ago, I had what looked like octopus jerky, and it was definitely octopus jerky.
Oh, how was it?
Awful. And I love calamari. I love sushi. I love calamari. It was just, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea. But speaking of just a few days ago or a few weeks ago, but in this case, a few days ago. So just last week, you released a brand new song.
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
It's a song that I really like. It's called Chariot, and it's a song about just like finding the adventure inside yourself, and like, it comes from a summer of adventure that I had. I had met a person with a sailboat. The sailboat didn't work all summer, but we did like the dinghy. We dinghied around to all the Maine islands and like had like tons of stuff go wrong and stuff. And it was just like totally not planned. None of it was, but it was an incredible adventure, and it was really eye-opening. It was awesome. It was like I was meeting like myself as a kid again. It was the coolest thing. So the song is about just like, even though the adventure part, because he just left, like he had to go around the world and whatever, but even though the adventure like ends, you can still like, even though one adventure ends, you can just continue to take that, like what you got from that. Like everyone's gone on like the kick-ass like camping and hiking adventure, whitewater rafting, whatever. You feel like these feelings from those experiences. So it's just about carrying those feelings like into your daily life and like sensing like you can always go on other adventures and just like find other things, because I think we think after the experience is done, we're just like, oh, that was really fun. Oh, I want to do that again. It's just like, all right, let's go find some other stuff, like, so it's just about finding that sense of adventure again. I think we all have that like as kids, so keep being big kids.
Absolutely. Maintain that childlike wonder for the world,
Yes.
There's a beautiful meme going around, and it's treat every day like you're in a Studio Ghibli movie. So it's just everything is the best that you've ever had every day. So if it's the same cup of coffee, it's still the best cup of coffee that you had had that day.
It's always fresh, and like it's always the fresh experience.
And it's always new, and you're always wonderful, and it's always whimsical. And I thought that was kind of a beautiful way. I mean, unfortunately, we can't always look through the world with such, opportune outlook. But It
Yeah.
is nice for the things that we can to go in with a new sense of appreciation, even for the most mundane things. So they kind of, you're right, of keeping that childlike sense of wonder with an adventure, because just because one ends doesn't mean that a brand new one isn't going to start right there in its place.
Right, exactly. And I think you have to kind of find it a little bit. If somebody invites you to something, like, and you're like, maybe, like, no, I'm gonna not do that. It's like, oh, you could be missing out on like one of the best things. Like, so I think that just continuing to push towards like that edge of your comfort zone, you know, and just like discovering new stuff. That's the other thing, like food. That's an adventure too. So continue that
The
adventure.
best
Like,
adventure.
explorer, food explorer. Like that sounds like the best job in the world.
And you're right. And that's awesome. And that's kind of a great culmination of this entire conversation we just had of be willing, be present, be proactive, be adventurous, keep a childlike sense of wonder for the world around you, and really just a sense of responsibility to yourself and stay involved in the world around you,
Yeah.
community service, just offering your time to somebody else that, may be in need, or even just a friend or, an acquaintance, it doesn't matter, just physically being there, being present in a new experience could change your entire outlook.
Yeah. Honestly, it will enrich your life and probably end up enriching a whole bunch of others because of that too. Talking about how we can influence the world, because it's just like you're contributing to that experience, and bringing all of those things. Like you're bringing childlike wonder to someone else's experience when you're like that. So it's really, we all totally affect each other. So I think it's really, really fun to continue to explore in your life and just like proactively, like reaching out. That's kind of like exploring, like reaching out to your friend and just being like, what's over there? Like, how are you? It's like, I think, well, before this whole thing happened, I think I've talked to so many people. I feel like it's generally, we were all running like on all like cylinders, really. We were just all really pushing, ready to have the best year. Like we were in like our best year or whatever. 2020 was supposed to be like the best year for a lot of people. And this happened. But it's very interesting that I feel like we were all really being pushed to our limits, really, like working all these hours and like running 100 miles an hour all the time and just not having the time. And then all of a sudden it's just like we had this crazy time, which was something to learn from. So, but I think as a collective, we're just doing that. Like this stuff, it's like your show is starting here and it's like amazing. It's showcasing all these like great musicians that you have, and it's ready to grow. And then there's other shows in the West Coast, and there's other shows in like the middle of the US. It's just like little movements here and there. I think we're all in the same environment to start these movements, because as we were just talking, like we got like a little fired up from this, like having the time to reflect, see what you really are passionate about.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's so many expressions I could fill in, but any movement is made by a single action starting.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. It might be just a drop in the bucket, but it's a drop in the bucket in the right direction. So let it be, myself here on the East Coast, other places in the West Coast, or someplace, in the UK or in Russia or in China. It doesn't matter. If somebody's making an active choice to bring positivity into the world and spread a universal message of equality, then we're all waking up to a better tomorrow.
Yeah, we are. And think about just how one person, like your show, and anyone else who's involved in the production, of course. I don't know if it's like anyone that's helps. I don't want to leave anybody out, but just
There's
like
a team. There's definitely a team behind the scenes.
But you guys are just whatever size team you are. It doesn't matter. Like what you're doing is so much bigger than I mean, it's worldwide. It totally can be worldwide. That's the beauty of the world today. So that's the good part about the internet. It's just like proliferating good positive things as well as all the other stuff. So it's good to be that source.
That weight of the international factor was actually kind of, honestly, if I'm being completely transparent right now, I usually am, that weight definitely kind of hit me this morning, and kind of, I'm actually really glad we kind of had this conversation. There's moments in this, like, wow, like what did I even start? I was looking at just the places where the episodes have been playing in different countries and stuff like that. And it blew my mind. I'm sitting here in my house in the middle of the woods in central Maine, and here I am talking with people from all around the world, and their message is getting out. It kind of like was a little overwhelming. I have a little bit of some
Yeah.
anxiety about it this morning, and I think it's kind of like the first time in in the couple of months doing it, where kind of like it all kind of hit me at once. I'm like, holy shit! I'm
Just
just
like,
like,
what am I doing?
what? How did? But I am so beyond humbled, just to be, like I said, as you said, a vessel. Even
Yeah.
to me, I feel more, I feel more like a I'm trying to find the right word to say it so
Yeah.
poetically, but it's hard. I do kind of feel like I'm gasoline on the fire. Like I'm definitely helped spread the
Yeah.
word, but I still kind of feel like a voyeur in the situation as well, which can feel kind of like I'm just observing my passive self here in this moment, and because it's it's getting to be bigger than something that I could have ever imagined already. And for that, I'm so thankful, because obviously what we're trying to do here and the messages that we're trying to promote, it's affecting a lot of people. So thank you for all your kind words. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't think I realized how much I needed to have this conversation today, and it's kind of where things kind of go here on the mixtape. Is we go exactly where the road takes us. We just take the journey that's in front of us together. Oh,
Yeah.
this has
Yeah.
been
It's that's a sign, because it's just like you probably just needed, yeah. It's just like allowing yourself to be in the zone. Like that's how we didn't have a plan or anything, That's those things happen all the time.
just allow
Pretty awesome.
yourself to be present in the moment, which is huge, because something, if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss something truly beautiful that happens in front of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. All the time. I mean,
Oh, this
I'm
has
not a big
been
cell phone person for that reason. Like I'm bad about my cell phone. I say I'm bad, but I miss stuff all the time. I'm just like half the time not thinking about the phone. I'm just like, where did I leave that? It's dead again. Oh.
that's a big thing when I'm like social with people, is that like it's down, like face down, away from me, not in a social area where we're all hanging out with each other. I want to be present, unless
Yeah.
I'm also that guy who takes 1,000 pictures, so I'm that guy.
Oh. I was always thinking it would be funny if this probably exists, but if there was like a restaurant where you cannot use your phone, do not use your phone. Like you're not allowed. If you come in here, you already know you can't use your phone. I'm sure people would still go. I mean, you could probably, I understand you could have emergencies, but you know what I mean? It's like a culture of that restaurant or that place. It's like, all right, this is where we're present.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. I feel
Because
like people would get on with that. Like, sorry, I didn't get your message. I was at this place, Oh.
Sorry, I was down at the mixtape lounge.
Oh.
Oh.
That's not in your back pocket for later.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would kill to have my own venue. Trust me. Oh.
You can even have the music at the same time. You can combine all kinds of worlds there.
Oh, food and music go hand in hand. I mean, it's because it's all part of the culture. I mean, music is an expression of the soul, just as food is as well. It's always been a big part of what I do, and I'm all about soul food. I love Southern cuisine with all my heart. I'm a barbecue guy through and through.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I really like barbecue too. I like all the sweet stuff, and like all the cornbread is very good, and like but biscuits and gravy is really good.
Collard
And I had
greens.
this really good thing in Austin. It's called migas. Anyway, so it's like eggs, and right before, like if you want to make it at home, it's eggs, and I throw pico de gallo in it, and then right before you throw that in the pan, crushed tortilla chips into the eggs, like good amount, and then it comes out and they're like meaty a little bit, but it's incredible. And you can put it in a grilled like flour tortilla, whatever you want on top. It's incredible.
Making me hungry. Making me hungry.
So, very easy.
I'm about to do dinner myself here, so another reward for the day.
Like lunch or whatever, but yeah.
So,
food's great.
Kelsey, this has been awesome.
Yay.
But I wouldn't expect anything else from somebody, whose music is so inspiring already.
Thank you so much. It's just, I just think everyone needs to have their fulfillment in the world, at some point, and I support all of it. I feel like we all need it. We all gonna get our happiness.
Find that rhythm that makes you feel like your true self, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it's something that you do privately alone, it doesn't need to be a gift that you share with the world. It'd be a gift that you share with yourself, listeners out there. But find your rhythm. Don't be afraid to take a risk,
Yep. No, that's where you grow, of course, and that's where your life, if you want to make your dream come true, literally it just takes doing all the things that you think would actually make it into a reality. If you want a company, research how to start the company, like for real. You have to like make it happen, but it's all a series of little steps. That's all it is. Like change in life is not always quick, of course, but so yeah. I support what you're doing. I'm so thankful that you brought me on. So it was really fun.
It's been awesome to have you. I love these soul-affirming conversations when I get into some artists. I mean, sometimes we just have a goof around, and that's good. Sometimes you just need to have a laugh. Sometimes we got to get real on the mixtape. And, but that's okay. It's being present and being willing to go on the journey where it takes you. You'd be surprised on the outcome that you find. And then you end up with moments like this where it just kind of reaffirms everything that you've been doing. So thank you for that affirmation. That's awesome.
Totally. Yeah.
Where can all the listeners find you online?
I'm on every social media platform as Sparxsea. So it's Sparxsea. The link's going to be somewhere I know around this video. Spotify, anywhere. I'm all the places. I mean, just search Sparxsea and you'll see. I did obviously my recent release Chariots there, but then my other release from this upcoming album is also there, Little Wooden Boat. So that's with my friend Sailing Around the World, the video that was on Punky's MixTape. So
yes, I loved that video. That
pretty awesome.
It's just so the music alone and then everything with the video went so well together. We might even play it again tonight because I really liked it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And honestly, it was just like fate, one of those things, being in the flow and just meeting the right people, She just crossed the Pacific. She got to the French Polynesian Islands. So she's like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean right now.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Better than being on the Atlantic after the hurricane a few weeks ago.
That would have been terrible, yeah.
God, I would not want to be hearing that story. Oof.
No, but no.
Any final thoughts before we part ways tonight?
I'm just very thankful to be on the show, and keep a lookout. That album that I'm releasing is coming out next year, but I will have this, obviously the recent single, but I'll probably release another single in the next couple months too, and then we'll get the album out, which is great. Yeah, and I'd love to talk to anybody if you want to get on the social sites or whatever and send me messages as well. I'm not just if someone's feeling lonely as well, always I'm here. I just can talk forever. I love to help people, because I honestly care too. So, yeah.
Well, it's good to stay connected with friends, We don't
reach out.
We try not to use fans. I mean, it's hard when talking about music because it slips out, naturally, but it's friends, not fans on here. So friends, don't be afraid to reach out if you're looking for help. And that's good because there's so many amazing people that are just willing to take some time to reinvest into them around them. So thank you for that too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Chelsea, this has been awesome. For my listeners, my guest this evening has been Sparxsea out of Portland, Maine. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
And we'll talk soon.
Bye.